Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I'm so glad that you joined us today, and what a beautiful morning it is today. I have a author on the line that today that is a co-author of another guest I had. Victoria Hallman, and Diana was a Hee Haw Honey. She a co-author of the book Hollywood Lights, Nashville Nights. Diana Goodman McDaniel, we're so glad to have you today with us on Morning
Good to
Moments.
be here.
And you live in Canton, Georgia, not too far from where we lived for 9 years. We talked about a lot of landmarks and places that we knew in Canton and Woodstock area. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, and what's happened with you even lately.
Well, after the Hee Haw show and all that stuff, I got married and had 3 sons. And my husband and I decided that I wanted to stay home and I just kind of backed out of the limelight and the career world because I just wanted to be with my sons. And we ended up homeschooling them. And who would have thought? My friends who knew me back then, they're like, wait, what? You're going to do what? You even have kids? I mean, none of that was on my radar. All I thought about was making it big. I just wanted to kick up my heels and be famous and be in television and, date famous people if they came along. And that was just all my thought. I didn't plan on marrying. I wasn't thinking about kids. I had some awesome nieces and nephews, and I just borrowed them when I had the itch, So I just kind of said I was going to put that behind and jump in and do whatever my husband and the boys were doing, which happened to be they were interested in sports. And I grew up kind of like a tomboy. I love sports. I played softball growing up, and then I was a cheerleader, middle school, high school, college, NFL. One day my dad said, are you ever going to make any money cheerleading? I mean, what do you got going on here? Because he was thinking, if you're not going to get married, you need a career. You need to feed yourself and all. He's like, so just I had this forever cheerleading kind of thing, but I loved it. And I didn't realize then, but that was my way of performing. I just wanted to be in front of an audience, and I did drama and, joined all the clubs, really enjoyed the high school process. And then when you have a family, something happens to you when you have a child. It's like that becomes the most important thing. Not that you can't have a career and kids at the same time.
No.
But what I was doing was going to take me away from them more, because I did try to continue modeling and doing things like that. And I just, when we expected our 3rd son, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. It's too much, finding people to take care of them. And then, so I just kind of trailed along with whatever they wanted to do. And of course they wanted to play stuff. At 3 years old, they wanted to play t-ball. And then they played basketball. And then they wanted to play football. And there was no football for homeschool kids. Once they got out of the county rec ball stage, like 12 years old. And my husband said, well, we'll just start a team. So he and a friend of his, Hank St. Dennis, actually there was a lot of families that had boys in similar ages. We were all part of the baseball team. And they got together and started football. And then 2 years later, my husband and his friend, Hank St. Dennis, decided to start a team. And I'm like, what was I going to do? I had to go along. And I didn't really want my little boys to play football. I thought that I'm trying to teach them not to fight. And there you are out there telling them to hit each other and not realizing it was really orchestrated, Yeah. All I knew about football was that they had cheerleaders. I really did. I knew when they did a touchdown, but So he said, there's a lot of mental that goes into this game. Like, mental, this is just, anyway, he said, I'm gonna have to trump you on this one. They gotta play football.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So our youngest was 5. And he said, trust me, when you get out there, they just look like a bunch of little mosquitoes running into each other. They're not going to get hurt. They can't even hold their helmet on their head hardly. And sure enough, I took them and formed a camaraderie with the other parents. And it became kind of like our social life.
Sure.
Because when you're at home, you, except in your church, you don't have a lot of outside connection with adults. You know, I have sisters and brothers, and we saw each other a lot, but this became kind of like my social avenue on Saturdays. And then when they got older and we started a team, I became whatever they needed: video, work in concessions, pick up people, you know, help paint helmets, just whatever my guys were doing. I didn't want them to do it, just run off and do their thing, and here I am at home. I just wanted to be a part of whatever they were going to do. And so I just jumped in, and they gave me a lot of jobs that, as long as I didn't try to coach, I was going to be okay. Although I did try to tell him how to coach too. Like, so it was a Christian-based organization. And so we wanted to be a light, and it was fairly like inside the box, so to speak, for a while. And then the more we met people that homeschooled for different reasons other than faith-based. Sometimes they had a child who was struggling in school behaviorally or other things like that. We started to meet people who were who didn't know the Lord. And that was not a requirement. That was just a bar we were trying to set for ourselves. You know, we wanted to just be a light, you know, and share the gospel, the truth, however we could, even if it just meant helping somebody in some way. But so we did that all of our sons' lives. And so when my husband passed away 4 years ago, we really didn't know what was going to happen with the team. He was the coach, and you know, Mr. St. Dennis was still involved as well, but they were he was more administrative and my husband was more hands-on. So we were like, I don't know how we can continue on without him, because he did everything. And he had sorry he had the vision and the passion for creating a space for young men to be able to play football, and some place that their parents could cheer for them. A lot of kids go through life and they feel like they just aren't doing anything good enough.
Yeah.
Like their grades might not be good, they might not be athletic, and to create a space where a parent can sit in the stands and cheer for their kid. If they go in for one play and they do that good, you're over there just cheering them on, you know, and helping them feel a measure of success. And his heart always went out to kind of like the underdog player. He wanted them to taste what it would feel like on the Friday. He wanted to create a Friday night experience for them, so they wouldn't miss like what was going on at the school. If they weren't, you know, if they're number 8 on the depth chart or something like that, they could come, and he wanted to see them succeed and have a chance to touch their lives. And so my son, who was still involved, and several families had been involved for a lot of years because they had multiple kids, or after their kids graduated, they would stay on and help. Because a lot of people just, you don't have many places where you can touch the life of a young or a young lady like you do in sports.
Absolutely. There's a real sense for need for community. And I think
Yeah,
that's
stay
put
committed.
within us that we should
Mhm,
be social and connected to something. And when people miss that sense of community,
mhm,
sports can fill that void. And then some of the boys, I'm sure, may not have had a positive male role model and get a chance to see a coach with a positive role model and to fill that void too. And it's just amazing how sports can help connect people, a sense of community, but also you're going for a common cause. And while you're doing that, you're building friendships that last for a long, long time. And even after your husband died, those friendships help sustain you and even your concession business you was telling me about, right?
well, I can tell you my sons made lifelong friends with the boys that they met on the football
Absolutely.
team.
Yes.
And even today, when I was talking to my older son, he mentioned his best friend is still a kid he met
Sure.
playing, and he's 35 now.
Yeah.
And but we wanted to we didn't just want to shut it down. It had been since 2002, 2004, and that's a long time.
Sure.
And so my middle son said that he would step in as the head coach, and he was newly married, and it was a lot. He was early 30s and starting a family and all that, but he, growing up in it had a special place in his heart, and mine too. And so we talked, and we're like, okay, we're gonna keep this going, and maybe it'll. And the families that surrounded us. I don't know if I can talk about this without being emotional, but the night he died, we knew was happening. They disconnect and all that, the routine. The families, other than my family and his family, the families that stood at his bed for the 5 hours that it took for him to take his last breath were from this.
Yeah.
I can see him now, and
Sure.
I feel like that God wanted me to stay to help other people. What can I do? We all volunteer and we don't do it right. Sometimes we do. But through the decision to stay with that, I was in the office of Cherokee County, who we lease their property to practice and to play games on. So I was in the office like I do every year, trying to reserve the field for our turn and always begging for more space. The county's growing so fast, they run out of practice locations. So I'm always in there hounding them. Can we, borrow this field or use this field? And the director at that time, his name was Jay Worley. Jay's a great guy. He was, it's like, hey, you think your team might be interested in taking over concessions for our new field that we just built. It's a beautiful park. And I said, that sounds like a lot of work trying to get people to volunteer. And he said, well, maybe you could do it. And maybe you could start a business, and you want something to do. You're looking for something to do now. And I said, well, I didn't think I was looking for that, and I had done concessions all these years for our team. We have to take turns doing all the jobs, but I've been videoing these football games since 2002, and I stink at it. Why they keep letting me do it, I don't know. But I have been videoing for this team for all these years, and Friday night, there is nothing on my calendar except Falcon football, because that's my priority during the fall. So I told him I'd pray about it. And I came home and I talked to my friend Susan. I said, I don't think I can do this by myself. What do you think about partnering up and us doing this together? She was kind of in between careers, and she said, well, we talked about, well, so we went back to him and said, yeah, we'll do this. So what do we need to do? It was huge. It was bigger than I ever imagined because there are tons of lacrosse, soccer, flag football, tackle football. This park is as busy as you can imagine. And so we had to, everything that goes into this huge building that we run this, it's like a restaurant we run this concession out of. We had to completely supply it with everything from the grill to the popcorn maker and anything that we wanted to sell um, outside of alcohol, you know. But whatever we wanted to make, if it was a slushy or a nice coffee or a hamburger, we had to provide whatever that was. And then learn how to order product and, you know, contract vendors. And it's like in a way, it's like a stationary food truck, if that makes any sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't move, but it's seasonal. It's not like every single day. Well, from there, after the end of that first season, my friend Susan's like, this isn't fun. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, okay, well, I like it and I think it's going to be profitable at some point. And I was able to run our football program through that as well, their needs, and you know, kind of a combination thing. And so in the spring, we start up again, and they gave me another building that is baseball. And then this year, they gave me another location with baseball. So, and they call me when I get emails, they're like, to the concessionaires, like concessionaire. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But it has given me, I won't say that it's profitable. I have to really think. It can be stressful sometimes, but when I ask the Lord to give me something to do with my life, tell me am I just supposed to like nurture my grandchildren from now on or hang out with my kids? That's not what they want. That's not,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to be all up in your kids' grill and their live and always over there visiting. And I want to be available to be with them when they need me or want me to. And they live within 5 minutes, both of my sons. And my youngest son just moved to Florida he wanted to live on the beach and work, and he's, you know, chasing his dreams and having a blast. But I try to go to Florida every chance I get.
Yeah.
Every weekend I'm off. But no matter where you are, you can try to be a light. And one of the good things that's happened, I have to hire a lot of people. You know, I don't get volunteers. I actually pay people to work. I get to use a lot of teenagers, and a lot of them can't get jobs anywhere else. You can't just hire a 14 or 15-year-old, hardly a 16-year-old. You know, they have school, they have, there's not a lot of Chick-fil-A type jobs out there, but I'm able to hire younger kids and they learn how to greet people at a window. A lot of kids don't know how to talk to adults. They're a little intimidated. So they learn, they have an opportunity to make money and learn a skill, albeit making hamburgers, but you got to make a good hamburger. Use quality meat, use good bun. I mean, I like to have fun with it. I'm always making keto things to try to sell people, keto desserts. I specialize, they call me the chicken salad lady because I like to make some options that they don't expect when they walk up. You know, you give them something other than pulled pork or something like that, and get to know a lot of, I just love spring in the park. You see all these families living the dream with their little kids. I get to relive all those memories. And now 2 of my grandchildren are old enough. They're playing softball, the girls. And so now I'm watching their parents get to do that. And just being among people, you know?
Well, Diana, let me just kind of put a little bit of a wrap up to this to say what I've been hearing you. It's just amazing how this wonderful woman has had such a great life, and she's had so many experiences. But even as much as she's done in the past, there's still things for God having for her to be around youth, around support. And some of you may feel like, well, I'm done. God's done with me. And what's there left? Maybe you had a spouse that died. Maybe you've had some disappointments and hurts as well. And you think, what's there left for me? You know, God's got a plan and a future and a hope for you. And I hope that this interview, I really believe that this interview was for some of you that are in the same position. And if you're hearing this and you're saying, wow, I know somebody I believe needs to hear this interview, pass it on through Facebook and pass it on through YouTube. What I'm going to do for Diana, I'm going to go ahead and put down on the comment section. How do you get her book? You cannot believe her story. It's a wonderful story about Hollywood lights and Nashville nights. Before she met her husband, and before she was in these wonderful places, you know, that she had, but then God also put her right where he needs to put her today. So I want you to read her story. After you read more about Diana and you find out more about her that we didn't even talk about today, I want you to just pray for her, because God's got a ministry at work for her where she's at. And as you pray for her, keep in mind that God may not be done with you yet. And maybe there's burgers for you to flip. And maybe there's young people for you to influence yet. So God is still working on each and every one of us. Diana, thank you so much for taking a few minutes today. And I hope that God continues to richly bless you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. You just have to be open,
Amen.
to what he brings you, and not think, I can't do that, or gosh, I dated Elvis, I can't do concessions. You have to find a place of humility and know that whatever he brings you, you're going to get some joy and money sometimes and fun, and still combine it with show business too.
Amen.
Right.
God bless you. And thank you for joining me for Morning Moments.
Thank you.